The Pacific Ocean is dark beneath the night sky. The air is cold and still. Far from any great city, on a small island that most maps barely show, a white rocket stands beside the sea. Its body catches the last light of evening. Around it, engineers sit before glowing screens. Some whisper. Others say nothing at all. They have seen this moment before. 3 rockets have already been lost. One burned shortly after leaving the ground. Another lost control. A third reached the sky, then fell back toward the ocean. Each failure consumed money, months of work, and something harder to measure. Hope. Now only one rocket remains. Inside the control room, a man watches the numbers on the screens. He has invested almost everything he owns. His space company is close to death. His electric car company is also running out of money. His marriage is ending. The world economy is falling into crisis. One more failure could close the door forever. The engines begin to roar. The ground shakes. The rocket rises. And for several long minutes, nobody knows whether his greatest dream will live or disappear into the ocean. How did a quiet child from Pretoria reach this lonely island? Why did a man who had already earned enough money for several lifetimes place almost all of it inside rockets and electric cars? And what did he lose while chasing a future that most people could not yet see? In this story, you will discover how one childhood computer opened a door to a completely new world. You will follow the most painful year of one man's life, when he had to choose between protecting his fortune and protecting his dreams. And you will meet a deeper question that runs through everything he built. When does great ambition serve humanity? And when does it begin to control the person who carries it? So make yourself comfortable and let the story begin. It was a bright, dry morning in Pretoria, South Africa, in 1971. The streets were wide. The winter sun was sharp and clear. On June 28 of that year, a boy was born into a family of engineers and dreamers. His name was Elon Musk. Pretoria was also living under something called apartheid. Apartheid was a system separated people by the color of their skin and denied most people basic rights. It was a divided and sometimes frightening world. Inside that world, Elon grew up with his younger brother, Kimball, and his younger sister, Tosca. His mother, Mai, worked as a model and a dietitian. A dietitian is a person who gives advice about food and health. His father, Errol, was an engineer. The family lived surrounded by machines, technical problems, and ideas. But Elon's strongest early connection was not with a person. It was with books. He read for hours. He read science fiction. He read adventure stories. He read encyclopedias from beginning to end. An encyclopedia is a large book that contains facts about almost everything in the world. When people spoke to him, he sometimes seemed far away. He was not being rude. He was somewhere inside the book, In his mind, planets waited beyond the sky. Machines could solve impossible problems. Civilizations could rise, fall, and begin again. Books gave him somewhere to go when the world around him felt difficult. And the world did feel difficult. His parents' marriage did not last. After they divorced, Elon eventually chose to live with his father. He later described that decision with deep regret. Their relationship became troubled. Father and son grew far apart. At school, Elon was younger and smaller than many of the boys around him. He was quiet. He sometimes corrected people when he believed they were wrong. This did not make him popular. Other students bullied him. Bullying means treating someone in a cruel and unkind way again and again. One day, a group of boys pushed him down a flight of concrete stairs and beat him. He needed medical treatment. His body recovered. But the memory did not disappear so easily. A child in that position faces a silent choice. He can try to become invisible. He can become cruel in return. Or he can build a private world where others cannot easily follow. Elon chose the third path. He returned to his books, and then, at about 10 years old, he discovered something that would change the direction of his life. It was an ordinary afternoon in Pretoria in the early 1980s. Most children were outside, but Elon was sitting in front of a screen, a computer. Computers in those years were slow and simple compared with the machines we use today. They did not offer videos, social media, or colorful games. A user often had to type instructions before the machine would do anything interesting. For Elon, that was the magic. The computer did not care whether he was popular. It did not laugh at him. It followed logic. Logic means thinking in a clear, step-by-step way to find an answer. When something failed, there was always a reason. Find the reason. Change the instructions. Try again. He taught himself programming. Programming means writing instructions that tell a computer what to do. He did not take a class. He did not have a teacher. He read the manual and worked through it alone. At 12 years old, Elon created a simple space game called Blastar. In the game, a player fought against an alien ship carrying a dangerous weapon. He sold the game's code to a computer magazine for about $500. It was a small achievement, but inside it, we can already see the pattern of his adult life. He imagined a future. He taught himself what he needed. He built a rough first version. Then he offered it to the world. But the world Elon wanted to reach was much larger than Pretoria. And the only way to reach it was to leave everything behind. It was 1989. Elon Musk was 17 years old. South Africa felt too small for the future he imagined. He believed the United States was where new technology was being born. But reaching America directly was difficult at that time. Canada offered another door. His mother had been born there, which meant Elon could claim Canadian citizenship. Citizenship means the legal right to belong to a country. He left South Africa with limited money and few clear connections. He was not entering a prepared life. He was walking into uncertainty. Uncertainty means not knowing what will happen. Canada was colder than Pretoria. The distances were much larger. The winters were hard. Elon stayed with distant relatives and moved between temporary jobs. He worked on a farm. He cleaned boilers at a lumber mill. A lumber mill is a place where trees are cut into pieces of wood. He accepted uncomfortable work because each job helped him move a little closer to university. In 1990, he entered Queen's University in the province of Ontario. 2 years later, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. There he studied 2 subjects together: physics and economics. Physics asks how the universe works. Economics asks how people use limited resources: money, time, and materials. One subject studies matter and energy. The other studies choices and human behavior. Musk wanted to understand both the machine and the world around it. He did not yet own a rocket company. He did not yet build cars. But 3 ideas were already forming in his mind. He believed the internet would transform how information moved. He believed clean energy would become necessary. And he believed that one day, humanity's future might extend beyond Earth. Those ideas were enormous. His first office was not. It was 1995, and the internet was new to most ordinary people. Many people had never used it. Many businesses did not understand it yet. Elon and his brother, Kimball, started a company called Zip2. Zip2 created digital city guides, pages that helped people find businesses and local services through a computer. Today, this sounds simple. At the time, it was a new way of moving through a city. The brothers had very little comfort. Elon often slept in the office. He washed at a local sports center. During the day, the company's computer ran the website. At night, he used the same machine to improve the software. He worked constantly. In 1999, a large technology company bought Zip2 for more than $300 million. Musk received roughly $22 million from the sale. He was 27 years old. For most people, this would have been the end of the struggle. For Musk, it was permission to take a larger risk. He used much of his money to create X.com, an online financial company. At that time, many people still believed money belonged in physical banks, in buildings, on paper, with face-to-face trust. Musk imagined money moving as easily as a message. X.com later joined with another company called Confinity, which had created a payment service named PayPal. After arguments and leadership changes, the combined company grew quickly. In 2002, the company eBay bought PayPal for about $1.5 billion. Musk received a very large fortune from the deal. He now had enough money to live in great comfort for the rest of his life. Instead, he looked upward. For years, Musk had wondered why human space exploration seemed to be slowing down. People had walked on the moon between 1969 and 1972. But 3 decades later, no human had traveled farther. He studied the cost of rockets. He spoke with engineers and scientists. He discovered that the raw materials, steel, aluminium, copper, carbon fiber, were only a small fraction of the total price. Most of the cost came from how rockets were built and used. Then he reached a bold conclusion. Perhaps rockets did not have to remain so expensive. Perhaps a private company, not a government, could build them in a simpler, faster way. In 2002, he founded Space Exploration Technologies Corporation. Most people know it as SpaceX. And 2 years later, in 2004, he invested in a young electric car company called Tesla Motors. Engineers had started the company the year before. Musk led the first major investment and became chairman of its board. One man, 2 enormous dreams. If you enjoy calm stories about people who faced impossible choices, consider subscribing to Timeless Stories. New journeys arrive every week. Now here is where the story becomes interesting, because both dreams were about to collide with the hardest year of his life. It was 2008. The world economy was falling. Banks were collapsing. Companies were closing. Investors were frightened. For Elon Musk, this was already the most difficult period of his life. SpaceX had now attempted 3 launches of its small rocket, called Falcon 1. The rocket was named after the Millennium Falcon, the famous spaceship from the film Star Wars. The first launch, in March 2006, failed in less than a minute. The second, in March 2007, flew farther but lost control. The third, in August 2008, failed when the stages, the sections of the rocket, touched each other during separation. 3 launches, 3 failures. Each failure consumed months of engineering work and large amounts of money. The company had parts for 1 more rocket. After that, there would be nothing left to try. At the same time, Tesla was also close to collapse. Its first car, called the Roadster, had reached some customers, but producing cars reliably and at scale, meaning in large numbers, was much harder than building a prototype. A prototype is an early version of a product built to test an idea. Costs had risen far beyond the original plan. The company needed more money urgently, and Musk's personal life was also breaking apart. His marriage to the writer Justine Musk was ending. They had experienced the death of their first child, a son named Nevada, when the baby was only 10 weeks old. They had later become parents to 5 more sons. But years of extreme work pressure and personal distance had damaged what remained between them. Business pressure followed Musk during the day. Personal pain waited at night. And then the terrible decision arrived. His fortune from PayPal was almost gone. He could not save both companies. He would have to choose: save Tesla and let SpaceX die, save SpaceX and let Tesla die, or divide his remaining money and risk losing everything. The logical choice might have been to protect one dream and let the other go. Musk chose both. He divided his remaining resources across the two companies. Friends helped him cover personal living costs. Employees worked through deep uncertainty. At Tesla, the company struggled through the final days of a critical funding agreement. At SpaceX, the team prepared the fourth Falcon 1. They had no guarantee of another chance, but they continued. It was September 28, 2008. The night was dark. The Pacific Ocean was quiet. Parts of the fourth Falcon 1 had traveled by aircraft to Hawaii, then by ship to the launch island. During the journey, changes in air pressure had damaged part of the rocket's body. Engineers had to repair it quickly, with limited tools, far from home. They were tired. Some of them had barely slept in days. But they continued. Inside the control room, Elon Musk watched the numbers. He did not make a speech. He did not need to. Everyone in that room understood what this moment meant. The engines fired. The rocket began to move. It lifted from the ground. It climbed through the atmosphere. The atmosphere is the layer of air and gas that surrounds the Earth. The first stage separated. This time, the sections did not touch. The second engine continued to burn. Minutes passed. Then a message arrived through the communication system. Falcon 1 had reached orbit. Orbit means the circular path that an object travels around the Earth. SpaceX had become the first private company, not a government, not a national space agency, but a private company, to send a liquid-fueled rocket of its own design into Earth orbit. People inside the control room jumped from their chairs. Some shouted, some held each other, some cried. Elon Musk stood very still for a moment. Then he began to cry too. The success did not erase the 3 failures that came before it. It gave them meaning. 3 months later, the American Space Agency, NASA, awarded SpaceX a contract worth about $1.6 billion to carry cargo to the International Space Station. The agreement gave the young company income, stability, and credibility. Credibility means that people now had strong, clear reasons to trust its ability. And Tesla? Tesla also survived. The company closed a critical funding agreement on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. It had escaped death by only a very narrow distance. 2 companies stood alive, both of them barely, but alive. And survival, it turned out, was only the beginning. It was 2012, and a spacecraft called Dragon floated quietly above the Earth. It approached the International Space Station. Slowly, carefully, it connected. Dragon became the first commercial spacecraft, built by a private company, not a government, to successfully deliver cargo to the station. Commercial means related to business and private companies. In the years that followed, SpaceX attempted something many people had doubted was possible. It tried to land a rocket after launch. Traditional rockets worked like this. A large machine carried a smaller one upward, then fell away and was lost in the ocean. Every flight required an almost entirely new rocket. This was one reason space travel was so expensive. Musk wanted to change that. He imagined a rocket that could rise, deliver its cargo, then return and land, ready to fly again, like an aircraft. The early attempts were difficult to watch. Rocket stages descended toward platforms on ships at sea. Some landed too hard, some tipped over, some exploded in bright orange clouds. Each failure produced data. Data means information, numbers, measurements, results. The teams studied the videos. They changed the software. They changed the hardware. They tried again. In December 2015, a Falcon 9 first stage returned to land after sending its upper stage toward orbit. The rocket descended through the night sky. Its engines glowed blue and white. Its landing legs unfolded. Then it touched the ground and remained standing. A rocket had gone toward space and come home. Meanwhile, Tesla moved far beyond its first car. The Model S, a full-sized electric sedan, offered long driving range, fast acceleration, and a large digital screen inside. Acceleration means how quickly a vehicle increases its speed. The car helped change what people believed an electric vehicle could be. It was not a sacrifice. It was not a compromise. It was an object that people genuinely wanted. Tesla later produced the Model X, the lower-priced Model 3, and a network of charging stations across many countries. Other car companies, large, old, powerful companies, began investing far more seriously in electric vehicles. Tesla did not invent the electric car, but it forced a slow industry to move faster. The dreams that had almost died in 2008 had become two of the most influential companies in the world. Yet success did not make Musk calm. It seemed to increase his speed. He became involved in solar energy, underground transport tunnels, brain-computer connections, and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence means the ability of a computer to perform tasks that normally require human thinking. In 2022, he purchased the social media platform Twitter for roughly $44 billion and later renamed it X. The decision was deeply controversial. Controversial means that many people have strong and opposing opinions about it. Running a rocket company is mainly an engineering challenge. Running a social network means making decisions about speech, information, truth, and human disagreement. Those decisions affect millions of people's lives. To some, Musk is a brave builder willing to challenge slow institutions. To others, he is a powerful man who does not always respect important limits. These two images exist together. That is what makes his story difficult and real. He has spoken about wanting to make humanity a multiplanetary species. Multiplanetary means living on more than one planet. SpaceX is developing a spacecraft called Starship, the largest and most powerful launch system it has ever attempted to carry people toward Mars one day. The idea is breathtaking. It is also filled with unanswered questions. Technology can open a door. It cannot decide what kind of society walks through it. That decision belongs to human beings. Perhaps this is the deeper lesson inside Elon Musk's story. The most revealing moment of his life was not the day he became a millionaire. It was not the first Tesla. It was not even the rocket that finally landed. It was the night in 2008 when he divided his last fortune between two dying dreams. That choice did not make him perfect. It revealed the force that has always guided his life. When he believes something matters, he finds it almost impossible to leave it alone. That same force lives inside every language learner. At first, your sentences may feel like early rockets, breaking apart before they reach the sky. A new word disappears. Your confidence rises, then falls. But each honest attempt carries information. Each mistake shows you what to change. And slowly, what once felt impossible becomes familiar. Like a machine returning through the night and finding solid ground beneath it. Tell me in the comments, which moment in this story stayed with you the most? Was it the lonely boy who found his world inside books? The fourth falcon rising after 3 failures? Or the night he divided his last fortune to keep both dreams alive? If these stories help your English, subscribe to Timeless Stories. New journeys arrive every week. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next story.